Welcome everybody to Ethiopia News Daily, where we talk about Ethiopian news with no bias. I'm your host, Nate, so let's get right to it. So basically, the last couple of days have been difficult for the Ethiopian community, and that's understandable because we're seeing very disgusting things going on. And we can attribute that to many things. And I don't want to sit here and give a history lesson, but I'm just going to cover current events. So here they are. So basically, we're just going to read the news. So we got Addis Standard. I try to keep it balanced. We're going to have Ethiopian local news like Addis Standard, and we're going to have corporate media like Guardian and Reuters, just as those are as legit as they come as of right now. We don't have a reason not to trust them. So, well, in my opinion, I don't know. Maybe you don't, but that's up to you. Anyways, so here we go. Security forces burn civilians to death in Mekelle, Benishangul Gumuz. Government says act extremely horrific, pledges accountability. So we have this video that's going around. If you haven't seen it, well, I suggest you don't. But it's basically looks like soldiers burning people, or people dressed as soldiers, because you never know. People might have just done that just to throw people off. Maybe it might just be local people dressed as soldiers. So basically, the federal government communication service revealed the location of the place where the government security forces were seen burning a victim to death in widely circulated footage on social media. The Government Communication Bureau disclosed that the location is Isid Kavale in Guba Warada of the Mekelle zone in Benishangul Gumuz region. The act is extremely horrific and inhumane, the federal government said, and pledged to bring perpetrators. I'm dumb. All right, to justice. However, despite mentioning the exact location, the government's statement failed to mention both the circumstances in which the security forces committed the crime and identity of the victims. Various speculations are widely circulating on social media about the identity of the victims. The perpetrators are saying they were avenging the death of a security man who is a major in his rank. They are also heard exchanging curse words and using dehumanizing languages towards their victims, one of whom was still alive by the time he was being burned. So basically, in Amharic, like የቀጥላቸው ነበር እና ያሉት ያቃጠሉት ያነበሩ ሰዎች, basically the people that were burning the person to death said they were avenging, like የተበቀሉ ነው, the death of a security man who is a major in his rank. So basically it's a retaliatory attack for an attack that happened, basically. So this is saying like basically ደም እየመለሱ ነው. So basically it's disgusting, shouldn't happen, but that's the world we live in. I'm not saying that's okay, but anyways, but yeah, so this happened. Very unfortunate news. It's going around social media. I suggest you don't watch the video for obvious reasons. Very disturbing. But it happened in the Benishangul Gumuz region. So we're going to move on to the next news. This is from Al Jazeera. All right. 750 civilians killed in Amhara in half of 2021. Rights body. Since November 2020, thousands have been killed and millions displaced as Ethiopian federal forces and their allies battled Tigrayan rebels. 750 civilians killed in Amhara. That's crazy. in Amhara and Afar regions, 750 were killed. In the second half of 2021, the country's right body said 750 አማራዎች ተገለዋል ከ2011 November በኋላ. And that's basically like in the last አንድ አመት ባለፈው አንድ አመት ውስጥ 750 አማራዎች ተገለዋል. That's crazy. Please stop. Please stop doing that. Like, I'm not laughing. I'm just saying, like, please stop. This is very, very fucking disturbing. በጣም ያሳዝናል. ከባድ ነው እና in a report released on Thursday, the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission also cataloged the widespread abuses, including torture and gang rape and enforced disappearances. Gang rape, enforced disappearances, so የጠፋ ነው የተገደለ ነው. It said at least 403 civilians died and 309 were injured in air raids. So I'm not going to keep going on this, but basically, like, ጦርነቱ 750 ሰው ገሏል. እንግዲህ መፍትሄው እንግዲህ ወይ ለአንዳንድ ሰው አላህ ነው፣ ለአንዳንድ ሰው እግዚአብሔር ነው. እንግዲህ መፍትሄውን ይስጠን ነው የሚባለው. Hopefully we can get out of this. Okay, we're going to get on to the next one because this is too disturbing. But, you know, that's the news nowadays. Everything is disturbing, especially in Ethiopia. But it's just everywhere. Ethiopia says it will act after video shows uniformed men burning civilians. So basically, this is the news we read earlier. Let's see if we can find any more details. It will act against perpetrators. Facebook page. So we have a name here. Isid Kabele. Oh no, this is where it happened. Okay. Isid Kabele of Mekelle zone in Benishangul Gumuz region. So this is basically Xenos ሰውን ያቃጠሉት እና ከዚህ በፊት በጣም እንደዚህ አይነት የጥላቻ ግድያ ሀፕን አድርጎ ያውቃል እና ብዙ ሰው ሞቷል. ይሄ ሁሉ የሚቀረፈው ኢትዮጵያ ኢኮኖሚ ሲሻሻል ነው. በጣም ከባድ ነው. መፍትሄ እኔ የለኝም ግን ዝም ብዬ ነው የምናገረው. ኢኮኖሚ ከተሻሻለ I think ብዙ ነገር መሻሻል ይችላል. Anyways, Africa could be hit hard by loss of Ukrainian grain exports. So basically, this is another thing I want to talk about that a lot of people are not talking about, which is the war in. So this article is from Reuters from March 11th. So the war in Ukraine could be affecting Africa in a major way. This is. I've been kind of looking into this. So basically, Reuters is saying African countries may be hit hard by continuing halt to Ukrainian grain exports caused by the war. A report from Germany's Kiel Institute for the World Economy said on Friday. The war in Ukraine could significantly worsen the supply of cereals used in food production in African countries, making food more expensive if Ukraine ceases to be a grain supplier, the institute says. So basically, Ukraine መትከልና ማጨድ ካልቻሉ እና ማምረት ካልቻሉ በጣም ችግር ይፈጠራል. Because Ukraine በጣም ብዙ wheat supply ያደርጋሉ ለአፍሪካ. The country supplies large quantities of grain to North African states, in particular, which other sources of supply could not replace, even in the long run. So basically, like, ወደፊትም በጣም ከባድ squeeze happen ሊያደርግ ይችላል ማርኬቱ ላይ. Grain importers globally have been hit by surging prices, with wheat around 14-year highs following the sudden stop of exports from Ukraine and a sharp reduction from Russia. The conflict has closed grain export ports Russia and Ukraine contribute nearly 30% of global wheat exports, along with large volumes of animal feed grains and edible oils, with shipments massively cut by the fighting. Due to the war, Ukraine is likely to be initially cut off from the global economy. Trade routes have been cut, infrastructure destroyed, and all the remaining production factors are likely to be directed towards the war economy, said the institute. It added, losing Ukraine as a supplier would noticeably worsen the supply situation across the continent. Among the countries hardest hit could be Tunisia, where the country's total wheat imports could decrease by over 15%. Egypt would import over 17% less, while South Africa would import 7% less. Grain imports would also be noticeably disrupted in countries including Cameroon, Algeria, that's dyslexia talking right there, Libya, Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, Morocco, and Mozambique. So basically, we all get like what people don't understand is like when there's a disruption like that, like a war, what happens is everybody gets all their countries get their stuff from like one big pot. So like there's going to be one big pot of oil, there's going to be one big pot of like wheat, there's going to be one big pot of like cooking oil, and not like hulum nagar, like we get everything from the same pot. So አንድ ቦታ ችግር ከተፈጠረ ይጠፋል ብዙ ነገር እና the supply is going to be a lot because people panic and buy, so that also brings the prices up. And not በጣም ችግር ሊፈጠር ይችላል እና this could create a famine if we don't figure out a way to grow our own wheat, and not So Germany will host a meeting of agriculture ministers of the G7 nations on Friday to discuss the consequences of the Ukraine conflict for the global food security. Now, what happens is, basically, in the next 6 months, we could see a huge squeeze and a famine could occur. አፍሪካ ውስጥ በጣም ረሃብ ሊፈጠር ይችላል እና እግዚአብሔር ይጠብቀን ነው የሚባለው። አላህ ይጠብቀን፣ እግዚአብሔር ይጠብቀን እና ነገ maybe we'll have better news። ግን ለጊዜው ብዙ ነገር ሀገራችን ላይ ሀፕን ሊያደርግ ይችላል እና ግን አብረን ሁላችንም ከሰራን ልናሳንፈው እንችላለን እና we just got to work together, let's stick together, and we can make it happen. Thank you for watching. If you like the content, we're going to be reading news, and we're going to be talking about, what we can do to improve things sometimes, and we're just going to keep this going. If you want to, you can subscribe, hit the bell, hit the notification button. I don't know. This is my first YouTube video, so I hope you liked it. Later.